In this video, I'd like to discuss the sources of power and authority in Mexico. First, I'd like to begin with a brief history of Mexico. Beginning in 1519, the Spanish began to rule what is known as modern-day Mexico. They used a lot of native labor, and they gained a lot of gold and silver from it. Then in 1810, 1821, the people living in Mexico fought a war of independence against Spain, and then gained their independence. However, during this time period, there was a lot of divisions in Mexico, especially between people living in the north versus people living in the south, between conservatives and liberals. And in 1846, the United States attacked Mexico in a war that ended in 1848, required Mexico to sell off a lot of its territory. And then to solve some of these divisions in Mexico, Porfirio Diaz took power in 1876 and he ruled until 1910. However, in 1910, when he did not retire, even though he promised to, the Mexican Revolution began, and that lasted until around 1917, where the new Mexican Constitution came into power, which began the long rule of the PRI, political party in Mexico, until around 2000. Now, looking at the democratization of Mexico, power has changed between political parties 3 times since 2000. In 2018, the election of Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador introduced a new political party, a potential 4th large political party, which is signs of a growing democracy. Morena looked to launch an anti-corruption campaign to try to make the democratic society in Mexico even better. Morena won a majority in both houses of Congress, which just shows that these newer parties can do even more and win even larger majorities or win more seats, which helps to support the idea that Mexico's democratization is growing. However, Mexico is still plagued by corruption, clientelism, and drug-related violence. So looking at the federalism of Mexico, Mexico has 31 states, and Mexico City is also considered one of those states, or isn't a state, but is considered at the same level as a state would be. States are governed by a governor who's elected and a unicameral legislature which is elected. States have power over taxation, policing, education, and much more. The governors of these states have created a national association, and in 2004, 31% of the federal budget began to go to the states, which helped the states to fund a lot more programs. However, in 2014, in the state of Guerrero, there was a government-involved disappearance of 43 students in Iguala, which may have been when the government of Guerrero was helping the drug cartels to possibly kill these students. So that's just something that's under investigation currently. Looking at the legitimacy and challenges to the state, Mexican Constitution of 1917, of course, allows a lot of legitimacy to the 3 branches of government in Mexico and the democracy that exists. The National Electoral Institute is also something that grants legitimacy to elections as it tries to make freer and fairer elections. The economic growth is also a factor of legitimacy in Mexico. However, clientelism and corruption still exist in Mexico, and these are some challenges that the Mexican state has to deal with to be able to claim even more legitimacy. And there are drug cartels, which of course control cities and population areas and pose, I would say, one of the largest problems to the Mexican state, which has to be dealt with to gain even more legitimacy in power over certain areas. And then there's in 2019, AMLO, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, he created a truth commission to investigate those students who went missing in Guerrero and to try to find more information around it. As of 2021, around 3 remains have been found, but all the students have been presumed as dead following that conflict.